Now, ladies and gentlemen, John Byner.
What up, Mike? Toronto. VK on the beat. Check. I'm in Toronto where you wanna get the city love. I'm from Toronto where you wanna get the city love. I'm in Toronto like we wanna get the city love. My city love me back for my city love.
Welcome to episode 1113 of Toronto Mic'd, proudly brought to you by Great Lakes Brewery, a fiercely independent craft brewery who believes in supporting communities, good times, and brewing amazing beer. Order online for free local home delivery in the GTA. StickerU.com. Create custom stickers, labels, tattoos, and decals for your home and your business. Palma Pasta. Enjoy the taste of fresh, homemade Italian pasta and entrees from Palma Pasta in Mississauga and Oakville. Electronic Products Recycling Association. Committing to our planet's future means properly recycling our electronics of the past. Ridley Funeral Home. Pillars of the community since 1921. And Canna Cabana. The lowest prices on cannabis. Guaranteed. Over 100 stores across the country. Learn more at cannacabana.com. Today, making his Toronto Mic debut is John Byner.
All right, hello.
Great to see you. Great to see you, John.
Mike?
Yes.
You Mike?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
Mike.
John, nice to meet you.
I was a little worried maybe you forgot about us, and then
No, absolutely not. We just had a little problem getting on.
Is that Dreamboat Annie who's helping you out?
That's right. She's running around here getting things.
Hi.
John, what a pleasure. Honestly, thanks for making some time for me today.
Hey, I appreciate your invitation. Thanks.
The notes I got when I said John Byner was coming on, I want to share some love with you here. Let me.
All right.
So you can hear me, okay? Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, good. Where do I begin? Let's start with a gentleman named Gare Joyce, who was my guest yesterday. So he was sitting here in the studio. Whereabouts do we find you today, John? I know we're Zooming, but whereabouts are you?
In my home, Palm Coast, Florida.
Okay, that's a long drive for you. Okay, so... But Gare, who came from Kingston, Ontario, which is a heck of a drive itself. But
Kingston, I know Kingston.
okay, so let me play a minute of Gare Joyce on my show yesterday. Here we go.
Okay,
When I
sure.
first booked this, you were the meat in my Dan Hill John Byner sandwich. This was the original schedule. So it was Dan Hill, then some Gare Joyce, and then some John Byner. You're excited about the John Byner.
Oh,
episode.
absolutely. I was a huge John Byner fan, and I loved all the celebrity impressionists back in the 60s and into the 70s. Frank Gorshin, Fred Travalena, and John Byner was right there. Gorshin was my best, and I'm sure that if you ask John Byner about Frank Gorshin, he'll he'll rave about his skills. I don't know how he'd feel about him personally, but yeah, I love that. And there just isn't like celebrity impressions anymore. Maybe since Kevin Spacey was disgraced, but he was a master impressionist. He was, but I loved that bit of the business.
So, John, what say you about those kind words from Gare Joyce?
Well, I appreciate any kind words. It's a wonderful thing to hear that you touch somebody's life in some way, and I was there for him, and so was Frank, and all the rest of the guys, the copycats.
Did you have any comments on Frank? He was curious what you thought of him.
Frank had a lot more mirrors than I had in my house. And he loved to rub his thigh, which I wondered what the hell that meant. And aside from that, it was like a character, a whole thing, and I don't spend my time being perfect at the impersonation. I just like to get the essence of a person and then make a little fun about it and go on. I I've always turned off by going to see somebody that does impersonations will do the whole song that's a person sang.
Right.
I mean, they don't deserve it. And people would say, okay, if it were Frankie Lane, fine, but you're just doing an impersonation of it, so hit it and get the hell out. That's all I can tell you.
Love it. Now, early this morning, I co-host a show with a gentleman named Mark Hebscher. It's called Hebsy on Sports, and we were just shooting the breeze before we got going at 9 a.m., and I mentioned John Byner is my guest this afternoon, and here's what Hebsy said. But then this afternoon, I'm Zooming with John Byner.
Oh, God, fabulous.
Isn't that wild?
I love John Byner as a stand-up act before the show Bizarre. Before a lot of people, he was a stand-up comic and a great one. And I mean, he was on those shows and I think I'm talking about Sonny and Cher, Glenn Campbell, Ed Sullivan. You're right, of course. But, because Ed Sullivan those days, you had, but I mean, I saw John Byner was fucking hysterical, like funny. I'm talking in the early Monty Python days. Like my favorite comedians were this was, I think, before I heard George Carlin would have been. So my favorite comedians were like John Byner was great. Monty Python was off the wall funny. Like this is the type of thing. The standard guys, the Henny Youngman, Shecky Green, Rodney Dangerfield was good. But I mean, different type of a comic, right? And man, John Byner was he was clever and he was quick and he was hip. That was the other thing was in the late 60s, early 70s, John Byner was a hip guy, right? People could dig his stuff, what he was talking about. Very, very good. When you're speaking with him, just tell him that like a huge fan and had really followed his career from the first time he was on television and his records too. Like, wow, that's a coup to get John Byner.
You're a hip guy, John.
That's for sure. I dig it.
Are you still a hip guy, or is it now more about
I'll always be a hip guy. It's from hanging out with musicians. Musicians in the backup band and with the Harry James band and the Woody Herman band. And working with singers and Mel Torme and all these wonderful people. And they're always hip, and they're hip and I'm hip and I love being hip because it's a place to be where you just feel like it's cool to be any place. All I can tell you.
You're a hip guy, John, but at your age, are you worried about breaking your hip? Is that more?
You get into that age crap. People get old talking about getting old. So don't talk old.
No, but on that note, real quickly, I got some great clips and many more great questions for you. But, Wikipedia tells me that you're a man in your mid-80s. Now, I'm Zooming with you now, and you might have a special lens. Maybe there's special lighting, but you don't look a day over 65. Like, you look amazing.
I feel amazing. I mean, why not? I mean, I do. I play golf with guys that are much younger than I, and they're in trouble. And I wonder why, and they can't stand me running around the course.
What's the secret? What's the secret? Like the secret to your, staying so youthful?
Well, it's just I think it's an attitude. I mean, I'm just funny. I'm just feel an attitude. When I got into show business, I hired people people approached me to manage me and agents to be my agents and I paid them. When I worked, I paid them. They were paid. And if I didn't work, I didn't get on the phone and complain about it. I didn't call the agent to drive him crazy. I didn't call the manager to drive him crazy. I just went about my business and had a life. And I took my kids places and I went places myself and I bought things I shouldn't have and all those things that happened. And I just have a life. I like living, so many people that have been in the business so long that's all they've got in their lives is the business. They can't go on vacation because that thing may come in and this thing, it's all, it has to be fun. If it's not fun, what are you doing it for? You may as well go back in the truck.
Well said, my friend. Well said. There's a listener named Ken Franklin who points something out, which I think is remarkable, which is in the Venn diagram of guests of Toronto Mic'd and guests of the Ed Sullivan Show, you're right there in the middle. You are a man who has appeared on both Ed Sullivan Show and Toronto Mic'd, and that's quite something. Congratulations.
I love Canada. I worked so much up there. At once I was the king of the candy bars in Canada. I've forgotten the name of the candy bar, but I was. And and I go back that far. I go back to Bobby Vinton, and all those kind of things that were going on years ago. And I just loved going to Toronto and Vancouver and all those great places and driving across the country, and I just loved it.
Well, we're going to get you to Toronto pretty shortly because I want to dive into Bizarre, of course, which I loved Bizarre. Now, but I'm hoping since you were on Ed Sullivan, would you mind if I just played a couple of minutes of you on Ed Sullivan and then we talked about that experience? Because I don't know if I'll ever have another guest on this program who could give me that perspective. So is that cool? So here's some of John Byner on Ed Sullivan.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, John Byner.
And now it's time for the Ed Sullivan Show, live from New York. You know, now we have a real fine show for you. So tonight, we really have to get along, keep it down. Now, for all you who loves great voice here, great fine singer from knocked him dead at the Cooper.
Wait a minute. I never say Cooper.
It's his show.
Do it right.
And here he is, knocking him dead at the Copa.
That's good.
Cabana. Well, darn it, let's bring him out here anyway. Johnny Mathis, come on out here, Johnny.
Look at me. I'm as helpless as a kitten up a tree, never knowing my right foot from my left.
I could listen to the whole thing, but John, please share with us any memories or what it was like to appear on the Ed Sullivan Show.
Well, it was the biggest show in the country. Millions. I'm not talking 10,000, 12,000. I'm talking millions of people watched that show each Sunday night. And there was always something for everybody. There was something for people who love the opera, some people who love dance, some people love comics and sports. There was something for everybody. And he was sure to know what made people happy. And he was a great guy. He was a regular guy. I mean, backstage, after you got to know him, he was, pulling tricks on you and doing all kinds of guy stuff. And I loved the guy. He was like a father figure to me, having lost mine when I was 11.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, but
no, that's okay.
I know you're going way back, but it's never, they say time heals all wounds, they say, but you never forget.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe it.
Okay. Now, when you're doing some impersonations there, but did you have a particularly favorite impersonation that you would do?
Well, Ed was a big deal, and people love to hear that. And I love to make people laugh. And Elvis was good. And then I was doing Elvis, it got to be stuff I like to do that other guys didn't do, like Robert Stack, for example. I did a Robert Stack that no one else has ever done, and I felt proud about that. And Robert Stack did too.
Can you still do that, Robert Stack?
I don't know. I'd have to find out exactly what to say.
Man, I love it. Now, so that's Ed Sullivan, great, but Gare points out something. What does he say? I don't want to misquote him. He says, this is the greatest of exactors to have done Johnny Carson and Toronto Mike. Johnny Carson, John, found you very funny. I mean, 37 appearances?
Yeah.
That's remarkable. That's remarkable.
Yeah, over the years, sure enough. In New York, it started, and then when he went out to L.A., I later came out to L.A. to live and raised my kids, and I just drive in and do his show and drive back to Malibu, and every once in a while I'd see him ride by and we'd wave to each other, and it was like a family thing. so to speak.
Did you ever?
Doc Severinsen was a good egg, and he'd talk about hip. He was hip, or still is. I don't use the was thing. Yeah.
Right. Did you ever golf with Johnny?
No, I never did golf with Johnny. I never hung out with Johnny. It was just there. Well, one evening we were working at the same place. It was at the Santa Monica Civic Center. It was a big deal, and Frank Sinatra was flying in. Blah blah blah, and Johnny was the host, and I came to do my dress rehearsal, and he invited me into his trailer. They had a trailer for him back in the back, and we had coffee, and we stared at each other for a while because he was shy and I was shy. It was like two approved magnets going ring, and that was about as close as we got off stage, outside of makeup rooms, etc.
Joe, so what happened to the impersonators? Like, there were so many. I think this was mentioned in the Joyce clip I played, but like, I'm thinking of like Rich Little. Like, this was a big deal. You had these celebrity impersonators, and I don't think they're in vogue anymore. What happened?
Well, years ago, there were not that many people. Now you have a comic on every corner, and you have an actor in every room, and it'd be hard to pick out people that people would say, "Oh yeah, man, that's just like him." Because the guy, come on, I look at People magazine and should be called strangers to anybody over 45 years old, and I don't know those people. And if I started impersonating, like my son.
Yeah.
My son does impersonations. He says, "Hey, Dad, I'm going to impersonate Clavin Klobber," for example. Now, that's the name I made up. I don't want to offend anybody. or my son. And he starts to sing, and I said, "Well, I never heard him, so I really can't tell if that's close or not, Don." So there you are. And I think that's the reason. I mean, we had the Cagneys, and there was special kind of different things. And like I listened to country western music, and I used to like it because there were different sounds, different, you had Hank Williams, and you had the gentleman from Canada, and you had different
Hank Snow?
sounds. And now they all sound the same, it's all the same to me.
Well, because you mentioned country and western, I'm going to go off track for a moment and ask you, did you ever, in this, we're going to get to Bizarre, obviously, which filmed at Aging. I'm taking my time here, but I know they also, in the same location, Hebsy was telling me they also were filming a show of Kenny Rogers. Was that concurrent? Like, did you bump into Kenny during your time up here filming Bizarre, or was that?
No, absolutely not. Never. No. Okay. Never did. It was different times a year.
Okay, gotcha.
In summer 10 weeks in the year. Yeah.
Okay. So we'll get back to Age in Court.
No, but that's okay.
Jim Carrey, okay, speaking of Canadians here, obviously I'm talking to you from Toronto, Ontario, Canada, so always Canadian-centric, but Jim Carrey started as an impersonation comic, and he was, as he was building his act and becoming famous, he would do these great, impersonations, and then at some point he completely abandoned all the impersonations and went in a different direction, and it seemed to work out for him, but he's like the last guy I can think of who seemed to be coming up as an impersonation comic. As I think, but
coming up. How do you mean? Where do you get that?
Well, rising.
Oh, you mean he started as and is now not?
Correct. Right.
Okay. Right. I'm with you now.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I think because people started impersonating him, maybe that was the problem.
That's exactly right. He became too big for his britches.
Yeah. He wants to be an actor, people want to be actors, and it's another story. It's another place. I've been an actor many times, and it's a nice place to be. You don't get as many laughs, but it's a nice place to be.
Speaking of being on television here, I'm going to kind of fast forward a little bit. And by the way, anytime you have a story that you think I skipped over, you just stop me in my tracks and you tell that story, okay?
Sure enough.
This is all about you. But I want to ask you, what kind of a woman is Carol Burnett? Like, what was it like being on Carol Burnett's show?
She's down to earth, and she's fun, and she likes to laugh, and she lets you know that she likes to laugh, and I appreciate making my people laugh, other comics laugh. That makes me feel good.
When was the last time? Did you speak to her any time recently? Like, I'm wondering how long it's been since you chatted up Carol Burnett.
No, Carol Burnett and I have not been. No, I was not the Tim Conway. I did 6 or 7 or so of her shows, and then the Tim was used all the time basically
Right.
after that.
Right.
But
Shout out to Dorf on Golf as a.
that was very clever.
I'll play a little bit because I like to play a few clips here. But here's a little bit of. I believe this is from the. I know it's from the Carol Burnett Show, but let's listen to what I got here.
Well, Dr. Fromis, I never thought I'd see you again.
Dr. Stroh.
Yes.
I told you when we left college that you'd be seeing my face again.
Yes, I know. For 17 years, I've been suffering from anticipatory nausea.
Remember how you used to scoff and laugh at all my inventions and call them yicky? Well, I've got something that'll turn your yicky into, well, I'll be darned. Bring it in. Wait till you see her.
Well, I'll be darned. You've invented the box.
No, Mr. Wise Guy.
There's a little taste of John Byner on the Carol Burnett Show.
Yeah.
What's it like listening back to those clips? I mean, that's a while ago, but does it bring back?
I loved being on that show. I love being part of that family at the time. You feel like you're part of a family when you did that show. People come in a rehearsal on a Monday, and they'd all be talking and having fun, talking about the weekend, and it was just a very relaxed situation. It was a CBS, and I'd run into Carol O'Connor in the hallway and things like that. And it was fun. It was just a great situation to be in. And I loved Harvey. He was a wonderful guy. And he and I go back to early days when I started shortly after the first Ed Sullivan shows. I did a Gary Moore thing, and he came back for only about 6 shows. And I was on it, and Lily Tomlin and Jackie Vernon and several others, and that didn't last too long. But Harvey was the comedy director there, and that's how I met Harvey those years back. Yeah,
amazing.
Yeah, 64, 65,
wow.
Maybe 66. Yeah, yeah. Way back then, son.
Love it. I love this.
I was thinking about doing something when you called me. When I came on, I'd say, "Hey, how you doing there, Mike? I just took a pill and it should be kicking in any moment now." So, there we are. So, how the hell are you?
It's funny. I don't know if you remember, but I was producing Toronto Legends with Andrew Applebaum. This is going.
Yes, I remember. Okay. That's how I met you.
Right.
Via Andrew.
So I wouldn't fall for your trick. Shout out to Andrew, the Toronto Legends host.
Hey, Andrew. Thanks. Nice talking with you, and you do a nice job.
And I think I learned on that show that were you and Pat Morita born on the same day?
28th of June. Yes.
Okay, you know, I'm
also Mel Brooks.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
And I tell when they come out with the newspaper birthdays, and Mel is on the top and I'm the second one, and I'm telling Mel, hang on there, Mel. I don't want to be on the top, ready to go off the cliff.
Okay. So you said June 28, right?
Yes.
I'm June 27.
Well, that's a close one. Very nice.
So close to being in that esteemed group there.
My granddaughter is on the 29th.
Okay. All right, we're all close together there.
I'm covered by you and Rosine.
Would you mind sharing with us your friendship? You had a great friendship with Burt Reynolds.
Yeah, we met when Burt was dating Dinah Shore. He was, unbeknownst to me until she told me, a big fan of mine. and she invited us on the show. I did several of Dinah shows in the afternoons, and we had a great time. We sang together, we laughed together, we had a great time. And one day she had this surprise for me, and Bert was on the show with us. And I had a great time with Bert. Happy to meet him, and anything I did, he copied that day. I jumped from a lift onto a couch, and he did the same thing rather than take the steps down. And he did the same thing, followed me and did that. And he did everything I did just to show me that he liked me. And so then after that, I started meeting him in different places, different affairs, and he would ask, he'd come up to me and he'd say, John, come on, will you tonight? Will you do the Duke and all that kind of stuff? He'd tell me his list of things that he'd like to hear me do. And that's the way it was for a while. And then he invited me to be a surprised guest for Lonnie Anderson, who they had just married, and they were doing the movie called Stroker Ace.
Right.
And he thought, as an actor, to play his younger friend who grows up to be somebody who helps him in a jam, he'd let me do the show, the movie, and he signed me onto the movie. And I traveled with them in the motorhome from place to place, and it was very good and very interesting. And then years later, I was invited to appear at a big affair in Beverly Hills, and he was there with Anne Margaret, and I was happy to pay tribute to her with a special little dance I had, and she got crazy and funny. It was just wonderful, and that's Bert. Bert and I, we knew each other. We were fans of each other, and like that.
I mean, you never know, like, who will be buddying up in Hollywood, like John Byner and Burt Reynolds. I don't think that would have been my first guess, but
who would have thought? Did you happen to see my book or read my book? There are pictures in there of us. And
oh, shout out your book. So, what's the name of your book?
Yeah, it's a nice idea. It's called 5 Minutes, Mr. Byner. And that's what happened, people, when you're working live in a nightclub or something. You get that 5-minute warning so you can zip up your whatever. And 5 minutes, Mr. Byner. That's what you get. Now my dog thinks somebody's at the door. I just did that. It's okay, Rox. Don't worry about it. Anyway, it's 5 minutes, Mr. Byner, and it's doing well. And I had fun writing, and it's all about the good things in the business. And I don't do any complaining and sorrowful stuff and pity party or anything like that.
Well, consider this chat here is like the teaser trailer, but if you want the main dish, you got to buy yourself a copy of 5 Minutes, Mr. Byner. This is where you get everything.
That's it. Up to date, right.
I have a question. You're going to dispel this myth or you're going to confirm it to be true. This is a big moment here, everybody. But, I loved Happy Days. Happy Days is a show, I was the right age for it. I felt like I had nostalgia for the 50s, even though I was a child of the 80s. It was quite a, no pun intended, but it was quite a bizarre scenario for me. But I loved it. Were you, John Byner, supposed to be Mork?
That one comes back to haunt me. I was at a party. I was dating a girl who happened to be on Happy Days, and she knew Ron Howard, and she invited me to a dinner party at her little house, a little apartment in Hollywood. And I came, and there was Ron Howard and his wife. There were, and we had dinner together, the four of us, at her house. It was very nice, and afterwards we sat in the living room. And he said, John, they want to see you over at whatever it was, I've forgotten where. They're looking for someone to play Mork, a guy from outer space. And I said, does he make noises and sound? He said, yes. I said, well, I'm not interested. Oh. That's as far as it went. I never auditioned. I never talked to anybody, just me and Ron. Okay. And then they make a movie about the making of Mork and Mindy. They make a movie about it, a TV movie. And there at one point they have a shot of overhead of a set, and this redheaded guy is standing at the set, standing there down there on the set, looking at the script, and guys are standing around with cameras and what have you. And he goes, "This is crap," and that's supposed to mean me. This is crap, and he throws it down on the deck and he walks off. And I thought, my God, if I had a good lawyer, I could sue their asses. Defamation of character. And that's as far as it went. And I've heard that, hey, how come you didn't take more? Did you hate yourself for it? Did you kick yourself in the ass? No, I had a good life. I'm still here.
See, if you had been Mork, you might have been the Oscar winner for Good Will Hunting. Like, that's how the...
But the thing is, he looked better in those tights than I would ever. That's the fact. Okay.
Did you ever meet Robin Williams?
Just very shortly. Billy Crystal was having a big thing when he wrote that he did that movie, Mr. Saturday Night. He had a big dais, and I was on the dais, and so were several other people. Muhammad Ali and going down, all these people were there, and we had to wait in this holding area until everybody was ready and the crowd was in, what have you, and I got a tap on the shoulder, and it was Robin Williams, and he said, "Hey, I like that." He mentioned something I had done on Bizarre, which are two faith healers meeting together and turn on each other. And he said, "I really like that bit." And that's as much as I ever said to him. And then he went over in the corner and he curled up like a baby and sat there alone.
Oh, he had good taste though, because and we're very soon, I want to tell, because people are like, there's an old line in The Simpsons where it's like, get to the fireworks factory, like, and it's like, no, it's like at some point I've got to get to Bizarre because I got so many people who are dying to hear details about Bizarre. But first, I'm wondering if you, John Byner, would share any details with me about Hollywood Squares.
Well, Hollywood Squares was a nifty thing, if you'd come in from whatever you were working on and you'd have 5 changes of upper clothes, because you're down there. There's not, unless they're going to call you out to say or do something. And otherwise you wore a pair of jeans or khakis and changed your shirt and your jacket and the thing. And you did 5 shows in one day. Okay. And after the first show, after the third show, everybody'd go to dinner and they had wine at dinner. And I'm telling you, after the wine at dinner, it became 2 of the craziest shows that followed. And it never failed. It never failed. So it was hysterical to take part in. And you got to meet so many different people each week that came to see, Tina Turner and people that you wouldn't run into otherwise. And I got to tell her what her nice legs were. And she told me I was funny, so we worked it out. And it was great. And if they threw something at you that you weren't prepared for, they had little possible answers on a card, and you could just look down and have an answer, and you don't know what the hell you're answering.
Okay,
and that's the way it was. But if you got something good, Peter Marshall would say, "Hey, yeah, Total Recall, man, it was right there," and he praised me a lot of times because I remember dates and people, and it was fun to do.
I can actually now tie it back. Okay, so earlier we heard that Gare Joyce, we had a clip from him. He was going to be the meat in my Dan Hill, John Byner sandwich, okay? So Dan Hill's biggest hit was called Sometimes When We Touch. Big hit, even in the USA, it was a big hit. Anyway, it was covered by Tina Turner in, I think, 1978. So Tina Turner had a hit as well with Sometimes When We Touch. So there it goes. It all ties back to Tina.
Oh, nice.
Nice bow for you, John. That's someone's got to pick up these threads and tie them
segue.
You know, now that you're an FOTM, and FOTM is friend of Toronto Mike, listen, you're going to get used to it. The tangents, the tying everything together, it's precisely what we do here. Loving this chat. Now I feel like I need to get you to Canada here. Okay, so for a little context.
As John Byner says, milk means lasting energy, lasting vitality, because milk is something else.
Come on, let's go, guys. All right, Chuck. Okay? Look out. Okay, now. Okay, now. You ready for a big one? How many different ways do you suppose there are to get to an island?
We came by plane. That's one way.
Oh, we can always parachute down to it, I guess.
It'd take a while, but we could swim to it.
You can always be born there. That would save travel time altogether.
Hey, you could even ride that way. Do you know who they are?
Well, unless it's a small invading army, I'd say that's Krabby Appleton.
How do you know that's who they are?
Because according to all the stories from years ago, they're supposed to land by boat, get on the beach, play these instruments, get back on the boat, and split their weird guard.
What a thrill it is having John Byner on Toronto Mic'd. The only man that I know of, the only person that I know of who has been on both the Ed Sullivan Show and Toronto Mic'd. What a career. In Ontario, if you're in Ontario, Great Lakes Beer. They make fresh craft beer. You can find them in LCBOs or at their brew pub at Jarvis and Queens Quay, or of course their Southern Etobicoke headquarters down the street from the Costco, 30 Queen Elizabeth Boulevard. Much love to Great Lakes Beer. Palma Pasta. They have 4 locations, 3 in Mississauga, 1 in Oakville. Go to palmapasta.com. Delicious, authentic Italian food. StickerU.com. You can go to StickerU.com anywhere in the world and upload your image, and you could produce decals, stickers, temporary tattoos. Quality product. Great people. Shout out to Ridley Funeral Home, pillars of my community since 1921. Brad Jones has a great podcast. Life's Undertaking. Subscribe and enjoy. I get to co-host that show. Canna Cabana will not be undersold on cannabis or cannabis accessories. Go to cannacabana.com, become a member of the Cabana Club, and be in the know when there's a sale going on. And there's always a sale going on. And EPRA. They'll help you safely recycle your old tech, your old electronics. We'll learn more with Cliff Hacking on Toronto Mic'd next month. But let's get back to John Byner. Prior to Bizarre, how familiar were you with the country of Canada?
Well, as I said before, I'd done a lot of work up there, and I was familiar with the town. I wasn't as familiar with the town as I got to be when I was introduced to Gary Challen, who was the guy who would take care of my hair and the wigs I wore and the characters and stuff. And he showed me all the great restaurants around town, and we're still very good friends. But anyway, it's always a beautiful city. We worked there in the summer. I've been there in the winter. I'll tell you, once I was there with a date, and we went to see a movie in the winter, and from that movie we were going to go 3 blocks to see another movie. We never got to make it to the third. It was that windy and so cold, and we had to turn back. It was just, I'd show up to visit Gary sometimes. And I knock on the door. He says, "What, did you wear everything you own?" I all bundled up and everything from California I had. Yeah.
Yeah, it happened. No, you're right. We do.
Yeah, but it's worth it. It's a beautiful town.
Absolutely. No, I mean, I'm a little biased. I was born here, but I do love it here, and happily raising my family here. But one of the great legends, of course, is that in Agincourt, which is a neighborhood in Scarborough, which is a borough in Toronto, so it's all Russian dolls here, but that's where Bizarre would film. So how did it come to be? Like, how did Bizarre come to be, and how did it come to be that they would film that in Toronto, Ontario, Canada?
The name of that answer is Alan Bly, who's Canadian. Maybe he holds a double citizenship or something like that. I knew these fellas from Sonny and Cher and a lot of shows I did back there, the Glenn Campbell, what have you. And they approached me to do this new thing that was only going to be seen by cable TV people. Right. So don't worry about your family seeing it. No, that so turned to hell. And anyway, they'd say that to girls who didn't want to. They'd say, "But what if my father?" And they say, "Oh, he'll never see it. You don't have cable, do you?" No, yeah. Anyway, they said it's going to be, sort of kind of crazy and doing things that other people can't do on other stations and what have you. And so I signed in because I'm a show off in the way that I can do different impersonations and characters. And I did what Alan told me at the end of our 6 years, that I've done over 370 different characters in that time. Different, not the same one. But wow. And that's amazing. It was fun to know. I wasn't aware of it, but I did whatever I was told to do in the script. And once in a while, there'd be something I'd say to Bob Einstein, who was the comedy director. Also, I'd say, "Bob, I don't think I can do this." And it was just maybe 2 or 3 out of all the shows we did that I passed on. And so he called somebody else to take the part.
All right, I got more, as you can imagine. I have more Bizarre questions, but both Bizarre, capital B, and lowercase b as well. But let's warm us up. Let's get in the Bizarre mood. Here's a little bit of music to bring us back.
Ladies and gentlemen, the star of Bizarre, John Byner.
Brings back memories, I'll tell you. Bob Einstein, here's John Byner. Yeah. It brings back memories.
Okay.
I said something. I didn't know something was coming.
No, that's okay. I'd much rather hear you now than then. But takes me right back. I know there's a lot of visuals you can't see in a podcast, but even the music brings me right back.
Yeah, same here. I love working with those people up there. They're so wonderful. Absolutely. Actors, comics, all those people up there are wonderful. I miss them. I absolutely miss them.
Well, we miss you, but hopefully we'll get a little taste of you, what you're up to now in this episode of Toronto Mic'd. But I do want to get to Mike Rogotsky's question for you before we talk further about Bob Einstein. But Mike Rogotsky writes in, John Byner, incredible. I watched tons of Bizarre growing up. Can you ask him how they got Mr. T on Bizarre? And how was Mr. T to work with?
Well, I don't know, and I never did.
So there's no Mr. T on Bizarre?
No, I never worked with him. Yeah, I knew him. but I never worked with him.
I wonder what he's conflating, because I copied and pasted.
He probably saw him do something and thought that I was in the dressing room, probably ran into him or something. Okay. But I never went face to face on screen with him. I don't remember ever doing that.
Okay, but do you remember Mr. T being on Bizarre?
Yeah, this is a segment he did with Super Dave.
Gotcha. Okay,
Yeah.
so let's talk about Super Dave for a bit here. Bob Einstein, of course, famously the brother of Albert Einstein, who now goes by the name Albert Brooks.
Right. I can't blame him for that.
I was going to say, I wonder why he changed it.
Who do you think you are, Albert Einstein? Yes.
That's funny. So tell me what, he's no longer with us, sadly, but what was it like working with Bob Einstein, a.k.a. Super Dave Osborne?
Well, we were pals. We were downright buddies. I mean, we hung out together, our wives and I, and we just had fun together. We do golf tournaments and Palm Springs and different things like that. And we, as I said, go to dinner, go see a movie, what have you. And I played golf with him, and we were pals. And he'd call me here in Florida after all those years. All like just a few months would go by, and I'd pick up the phone, and it wouldn't be "Who is it?" and "Hi, John." It'd be "Two guys walk into a bar." It'd be a joke. He'd start out with it. Just okay.
I was going to ask you if you do an impersonation of him, but it sounds like you do.
Yeah, I never did it for him, though. I know, because I didn't know how he felt about it, because sometimes you get really excited and talk like this. And he was a good guy. I loved him.
And where did you meet him?
Oh, like in Sonny Cher shows and the what the hell are the brothers?
Dick Van Dyke?
Dick and Tommy Smothers.
Okay.
Smothers Brothers show. And things like that.
Yeah, Mom always liked him best.
That's right. Yeah, I like those guys too.
Oh, that's a great nostalgia trip. Okay, now you know what? I'm going to call an audible here. I'm going to play a little bit of, this is the very first appearance of Super Dave Osborne on Bizarre, which happened to be the first episode of Bizarre. So if you'd bear with me, we're going to hear a little of this and then a little more chatter about the late, great Bob Einstein.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, not to be outdone by shows like Real People, That's Incredible, we have our own Daredevil, Super Dave Osborne. We're going right out to the field now with Mike Walden to see what this Daredevil is going to do for us today. Daredevil, Super Dave Osborne. Take it away, Mike.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Mike Walden speaking to you live from Stockholm, Sweden. Where you are watching, it's nighttime. However, it's early morning here in Stockholm, and it looks as if we're going to have clear, beautiful weather for what Daredevil Super Dave Osborne hopes to be his finest hour. Super Dave, what about today? First, why are you doing it? Secondly, do you honestly think you can make it?
Well, Mike, I've said this before. I'm doing it for two reasons. First of all, I love the challenge. And the second reason, I'm not sure it's more important, I love the money. I'm not a terribly gifted person, so I feel the money I make risking my life is far more than I could make doing anything else.
Super Dave, I really have to be honest with you. I almost don't believe that you could make it, so all I can say is good luck.
Thank you.
Well, Dave is going over now, and he's going to check with his pit crew for one last-minute check-over before he begins this great feat. Now, this automobile cost Super Dave's sponsor, the Pick'em Oil Company, approximately $300,000. It has triple reinforced roll bars, special nylon tires, which have a hard Teflon alloy in the tubing. The motor is the largest cubic inch engine ever put in a standard Detroit chassis. The car weighs over 2 tons. And as you can see, every safety device known to man is being used to hopefully bring Dave through this miraculous feat. He's got the car revved up now, and that means that we can't be only just a couple of moments away. Once again, Dave, good luck from all of us here in Stockholm, and I'm sure all of your friends watching in America.
Well, thank you, Mike. And I want to say one thing to my wife and kids. I love you, and I'll see you soon. And I might sponsor Daytona Lavich Motors. Fellas, if I don't make it, it's not your fault. You've done it all.
Okay, go get him, Dave. Incidentally, Super Dave has been outfitted with a special transistorized microphone so that we can be in full contact with him at all times. Once again, good luck, Dave.
We're ready. All right, I'm okay, Mike. I feel good. It's a beautiful day for this. I think I'm all right, Mike. I hurt my left arm a little bit, and I got a little headache, but as long as I can get my car in position, I'll be all right. I got to get the back wheels up top, and then I'll swing her on in. There we go. All right. Good landing, and now it's home free right now. The steering wheel is pushing me back a little bit, but I'm okay. I'm in the Mahone League. I'm okay, but you can't see it. Oh my God.
Okay, I can't stop listening to this. Okay. So, John, if you're still with us.
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
That's the debut. That's it. So, who came up with the Super Dave Osborne character idea?
You know, it goes back to when he did the Dick Van Dyke Show. That was when he first introduced that character. I found out because he said I wasn't getting a dime after that. In my contract, I was supposed to get paid for anybody who spun off the show.
Oh.
And he said, you know, I did that on Dick Van Dyke, so you're not going to get it.
Oh, that's funny. That reminds me briefly of Tracy Ullman once tried to sue The Simpsons because it was originally on her show.
Oh, God.
Anyway,
it's too much for me. As I said, I never bothered with all the petty crap in this business. I just went on. You know, you go crazy. And you pay a lot of money out to lawyers, and who the hell needs that?
Oh, and he had... sorry for talking over you there, but he had great success in more recent times with...
oh, yes. On this, you know, my wife and I...
Curb Your Enthusiasm.
My wife and I don't get HBO at the house. We never ordered it because, you know, we don't see anything that we care to watch. So Bob calls me in his 2 or 3 month call and he says, "Hey, did you see me Saturday night?" I said, "We don't get HBO." And, "What, the you live in the fucking woods?" He said.
You do a great Bob Einstein, but it's like he's still here.
That's a really good guy. Yeah. Especially like the segment you see where he's following me out to my limousine. I'm wearing this. We're talking about dignity, and I'm wearing this dress. And I'm upset because he made me wear the wrong earrings. All kinds of stuff. You got to check that. I think it's on YouTube somewhere.
Oh, for sure.
At any rate, that was my favorite because I kept making him laugh, and his whole deal was not to laugh. This was the part of the deal,
right?
And that's all I needed to hear.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so here's a small world story, I suppose, but a local Toronto band that made it big in the U.S. with a #1 Billboard Hot 100 hit is the Bare Naked Ladies. Mm-hmm. And the drummer for the Bare Naked Ladies is an FOTM like yourself, but his name is Tyler Stewart. And Tyler's first job was to drive Super Dave around when he was filming in Agincourt.
Oh, well, that's nice.
I got more for you. Okay. If you think that was good. Okay. So
Bob would be proud to hear that.
So shout out to Tyler Stewart, who was driving.
Good night, Tyler.
And I got more for you.
Drums too. You played drums too, and you drove him around. Well, you're him. Okay.
Leona Boyd is an FOTM. She's of course also a great Canadian. She's what do they call her? The first lady of classical guitar, I think they call her.
Oh, that's
and
nice.
She appeared on Bizarre. I can't remember anymore. I think she played on Bizarre or something. She had anyway. So shout out to Leona Boyd, and I got one more. I got a couple more for you. Almost done. Ziggy Lawrence, who was famous in this market for being on Much Music and having her own city TV show, and Ziggy is one of those attractive young ladies who would be on Bizarre in wearing tight T-shirts, etc.
God bless her. God bless her. And did her dad get to see her?
Oh yeah. Well, I should phone her up, and I can't remember, but maybe. Oh, a couple more quick ones.
Anyway, God bless her. There were beautiful women on that show. Great. The thing what we did was Miss Lady of the Evening. You got to see that.
Well, I mean, what I remember, I watched a lot of Bizarre, and I was probably too young to be watching Bizarre, but I watched a lot of it. I guess I got a censored version on CFTO or something. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But I still remember the skit because I was, starting to realize I'm attracted to women, and then there's a woman in a nice tight T-shirt, and she'd take off her T-shirt, of course, and there'd still be another one under that, and this would go on for like 25 T-shirts or whatever, and it would drive me crazy.
Man, they should have called it the tease shirt.
But man, it's like, one more to no. It's like, and you can kind of see different colored. You can kind of say, oh my goodness, we have another 20 to go. Like it was rather frustrating. So.
And the natives in Africa would say, "What's the big deal?"
So then, okay, well, a couple more. I'm almost.
Yes, sure.
Okay, so we did Leona, we did Ziggy. Oh yeah, so Dave Thomas is an FOTM.
I love Dave.
Tell me a little about Dave. What
I spoke about. I didn't mention Dave Thomas in the thing where the two faith healers meet in the street. That was Dave Thomas Met With Me, and that's also on YouTube. It's a favorite. It's a favorite of Robin Williams. So
right.
Hello, Brother Ernest.
Praise the Lord. Yes, praise his name. How is your lovely wife?
In perfect health. And your beautiful children?
The joy of my life. And how are you feeling?
Well, my bursitis is acting up again. When I tried to shave this morning, I couldn't raise my arm.
The pain is here in your shoulder. The pain will disappear if you believe.
I believe.
The pain is going away. The pain is going away. It's gone.
You're right. It's a miracle. The pain is all gone. I can't thank you enough.
What did you say? My hearing, I'm having trouble. It comes and it goes.
You will hear again. You will have no problem with your hearing. Can you hear me?
Not now. You have your hands over my ear.
Believe me, you will hear, and you will hear right now. Say, baby.
Baby.
Say, baby.
Baby. I'm cured, Oral. I'm cured. Thank and praise the Lord. I'll see you later.
Just a minute, Brother Ernest. I've been wanting to talk to you about all the money you make on your television show.
Well, what about it?
You stole one of my ideas. Faith Healers bubblegum cards.
Yes, I cleared over $5 million on that one.
But stealing is a sin. And you call yourself a faith healer.
Well, I am. I healed my bank account.
Well, you hurt mine. You hurt it bad, and I had to give up 3 television stations, and I'm having trouble with my cash flow.
Tough. Heal thyself. If you don't like it, sue me.
We'll see about that. This hand here, you see this hand here? This hand is useless. You will never be able to use this arm again. It will fall by your side and stay there forever.
Oh! I can't lift my arms. All right, you started this and you're not going to get away with this. You will have a stroke, a permanent stroke, incurable.
You devil, take this. Your leg is powerless. It will no longer support you. You're late.
Well, that goes double for you. Both your legs are gone. You are crippled.
This has gone far enough. I'm ending this once and for all. You are having a fatal heart attack, and I mean fatal.
You never see me die because you're blind.
I think I won. I am the best. My hands are miracle workers. Can you hear me, Lord? Can you hear me, Lord?
Well, he might be able to hear you, but I'm still having trouble.
So yeah, I mean, it was amazing to have these,
then he went on to be on a show called Alice, or a girl with one name, Grace or something like that.
Oh yeah, Grace Under Fire.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
I actually was.
He's a good guy. He's a good performer.
He's a sweetheart because you know what it's like. I'm like, okay, I'm talking to Dave Thomas. I don't want to take too much of his time, but he kind of like you did. You remind me a lot of Dave Thomas in the sense that you relax me to a point where I'm fully comfortable taking 8 hours of your day here. Tell Ed.
Right.
No, just kidding with you. But Dave Thomas, great. A few more names. Lisa Del Bello.
Ah, yes.
What can you say about Lisa?
Very beautiful woman. We were talking about Bobby Vinton. She was a backup singer for Bobby Vinton on that show. I think she was 17 years old. Absolutely beautiful. And we were kept back for wardrobe or something, and everybody went off to go to this rap party. And she knew a bus that could take us to that place. So we get on this bus, she and I. and these two old ladies are sitting together, and one of them had very good hearing and very good ears. And one of the ladies says, he's a comedian. And the woman next to us said, he's a dirty old man.
She speaking of Much Music, where Ziggy was working, Lisa did have some videos that got lots of airplay on Much Music, including one for a song called Let's Tango, which was I think she was recording under the name Del Bello. And her sister-in-law, so that means listeners, now, John, I know you might not know this name, but the listeners know Danny Elwell, who's an FOTM. Danny Elwell married Lisa's brother, and I think Danny might have co-wrote a couple of songs on Lisa's album. So shout out to Lisa Del Bello.
There you go, Lisa. Hi.
Here's a big name for you. Mike Myers.
Mike is strange in a way. I had nothing to do. This is a story I just love to tell the public because I never told anybody. Mike didn't realize that I never had anything to do with the hiring or firing of people on Bizarre. Nothing whatsoever to do with that. I showed up, the actor showed up, how you doing? It's great, good to see you again, nice to meet you for the first time. Whatever it was, I had nothing to do, okay? So he comes on Bizarre as a boy, little boy. And we're doing this thing about the kids smoking, doing Natalie thing, talking bad trash, and the father's wondering why. It's just a funny little sketch. And for some reason, don't ask me why, somebody else came and filled in for him the next time I did it. I don't know why. So years go by. I mean, many years go by. And Mike does this movie, with the thing and boom and thing. And there's an affair. I think it was Frank Sinatra's 80th birthday. And I'm invited, and so is he. And I think that was the affair. And I go over to shake his hand and say, Mike, after all these years, great what you did that picked that movie, blah, blah, blah. And he says, oh, you had me fired.
Oh.
That's all he said to me. Jesus
He's
Christ.
never forgot. He's never forgot.
I went,
oh, Mike, his brother is an FOTM. Shout out to Paul Myers. But
hey.
Yeah, no, it's great. I love hearing the Mike Myers stories. Here's another from the Hammer, I suppose. But what can you tell us about Billy Van?
Billy Van, he's a solid character in my life. He's the guy. Billy Van and I did the what the hell was it? The Sonny and Cher show together a couple of times, and he did so many of my shows. And terrific actor and a terrific guy, and you'd never have to worry about Billy Van. If you did a sketch, Billy knew it, and if you messed up, he just covered for you. He was just a wonderful person. A wonderful person. Died too young.
But we all still watch. At least I still watch the hilarious House of Frightenstein. Which, with about, I don't know, 10 different characters.
He's alive on film.
He'll live forever on our film, right?
Yeah.
What about Luba Goy?
Luba's, yeah, she was great in the Bigot family. Yeah, she was terrific. Those big glasses. She was somebody who didn't care. She was going to be that character, and whether that character looked good or didn't look good, she was going to be that character. And she was a great asset to that group, the Bigot family in particular.
Well, Jerry the Garbage Man, I'm glad that we're talking Bigot family, because he writes in, please ask John Byner about the origin of the Bigot family skits and how he thinks they would be received today.
Oh, by open-minded people, yeah. And then people that weren't bigots, that would be received very well. Otherwise, oh God, we did the KKK talk show. How would that be received by people? I mean, we did things that other people wouldn't dare to try to even do, and it wouldn't be. I mean, for those of people who laughed at that, I admire them and I respect them, because they have open minds and they realize that everybody's people, and it's all fun, and for God's sakes, get over it. It's so freaking old-fashioned to have anything bad to feel about anybody else, just because they don't eat the same food or have the same hair or whatever the hell it is. Get over it. Grow up. That's all I can say.
I'm going to play one more clip. Because here I am on a Zoom of John Byner, so I'm going to play just give people a taste of Bizarre beyond Super Dave Osborne and that opening music. So here's just a little bit more for you.
I do each little less. Don't give Mr. Rambo says. You better do what I tell you to, or I'll kick you in the ass. You like that little song, boys and girls? I wrote it myself in blood. So you've been having a good time with your brothers and your sisters? Think I'll forego with the headband today. Hey, wait a minute. I think I smell Mr. Mailman. And here is Mr. Bazooka. Can you say boom, boys and girls? Hi, Mr. Mailman. Bye, Mr. Mailman. I guess Mr. Mailman's going to see Mr. Undertaker. Let's see what Mr. Mailman brought today. Uh-oh, it's a letter bomb. We better get rid of this quick, kids. It's headed toward a bus full of nuns. Talk about your flying nuns. Oh, which reminds me, Mr. Music, will you walk me to Mr. Machine Gun? That's enough, Mr. Music. I said knock it off! Excuse me, boys and girls, I'm going to introduce Mr. Music to Mr. Fist. Be right back. Hold your crayons.
So this is Mr. Rambo's Neighborhood.
And Mr. Rambo's Kitchen, too.
Oh, yeah. Oh, just fantastic. Okay. Couple more names for you here. Okay. Victoria Jackson.
Victoria Jackson, terrific. Absolutely terrific. Yeah, I mean, what's not to like about Victoria Jackson?
Well, how much time do you have? No,
I bent the knee for her to put a ukulele. She was playing a ukulele or something like that. She was playing what the hell was it called? She was singing a song called "Use Me." So I let her use my knee. She couldn't. She was supposed to have a stool on stage, and she looked off stage, and I ran off to help her. And I just kind of knelt down and had my knee up, and she was able to do that. Anyway, Victoria Jackson, yeah, different girl, a different thing. She's not copying anybody. I admire her for that.
What about Billy Barty?
I love Billy. I go back with Billy many times, with different specials we were in, and he was a terrific guy. I'd have him up when I was at the Royal York. I'd have him up to dinner with room service, and he'd come in and just casually lift up the cushion off the chair and just sit there, and he'd be right up the right place for the coffee table. And we'd have dinner. And hey, John, how you doing, John? He was a beautiful guy. I have to tell you the story.
Yes.
I have to tell you a story about the last time I saw Billy. There was a big deal for Billy at Universal Studios, and round tables and people and on stage or reading things, or poignant things about Billy and what he did for the little people over the years. And at one point, this one announcer from LA is up there, and he's reading this thing, and in comes Bob Hope, being escorted by the guy that they hired to escort him. And he comes in, and he's plopped down at our table, Annie and my big round table, maybe 10 or 12 of us at the table. In the middle of all this, he yells out, "I want ice cream!" He's about 97, 98 or whatever it was. Just couldn't hardly see or anything. And the word gets to Billy backstage that Bob's out there. So Billy comes over and crawls up on his lap and says, "Hiya, Bob!" And Bob goes, "Who is it?" So that's the last time I saw Billy. God bless him.
Oh.
But he had terrific attitude. He did.
John, this is amazing. So I'm just gonna ask like a few nuts and bolts. Like how long did you have to come to Toronto to film these things? Like, give me an idea. Like, you'd come up here for like weeks to film everything?
Yeah, 10 weeks.
10 weeks. Okay.
Yeah.
And how many years of Bizarre did you film?
6.
6. So 6. Okay. And
we do 25, 26 a season.
Okay. And why does it end after 6? I mean, 6 is a good run. Don't get me wrong.
Well, Bob was anxious to have his own show. So he said to me one day, "I've had enough of this. How about you?" I said, "What the hell am I going to do without you?" So it was the end of it. And then came the, Super Dave show. And I made an appearance on his show, which he invited me to do his show a couple of times. Once in Vegas and once in Vancouver. But he had to get out and do his thing. And I could see that,
What do you remember what year it was when Bizarre came to an end?
86.
86. Okay. So I'm just doing some math here. So it seems to me like, because I loved Bizarre so much, and then post Bizarre, I saw less John Byner than I would have liked to have seen. Like, what exactly has kept you busy these last few decades?
Life. I've been on several things. I've done a couple of things. I've been in a couple of pictures. One, in fact, is coming out soon. It had a big response in Las Vegas, I'm told, by the producer. Won 5 awards, and it's a remake of something that was done years ago. Edmund O'Brien did a movie back in the 40s called DOA, Black and White, and it was in black and white. And we did that right up here in St. Augustine, and independent producer, and that's we're going down to Lauderdale, my wife and I, and Annie's in it actually also.
Nice.
And we're going down to Lauderdale for a big movie festival down there, and then it's going to be up in St. Augustine, another festival that's at, and we're excited about it. And I auditioned for a couple of things just now recently, and I send them in via video.
Sure.
And I wait and I see, and sometimes I do. I get it, and other times I don't, because I'm too much of something or not enough of something. You never know. But that's what I'm doing. And I get called for voiceovers from people that can't do a certain thing. I was called to do a voiceover in LA of an actor who passed away before the picture was done. And I was able to do that, but I can't talk about it.
Okay, you're signed an NDA.
And I'm going to be in the St. Augustine Opera in January 1st, Die Fledermaus. And I play the comic in that center after the beginning of the third act. And I'm going to do that on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. And like that, I do stuff.
No, honestly, very impressive. In this film you're referring to that won these, the independent film that's been recognized in Vegas, I can't wait to see this.
Yeah.
I mean, what kind of role do you have in that? What are you in that?
I play a nasty guy. I play a guy who sells poison to people.
I can't imagine you playing the bad guy.
Well, give me a break. Try to.
That's like Tom Hanks trying to play the bad guy in the Elvis movie. It's like, wait a minute.
People loved it. I haven't seen it. I knew Elvis. I'd rather not see it.
Oh yeah, that would be unique because most of us don't know Elvis, so it's like
I was invited to his home and
wow, in Graceland.
Vegas, and I knew him over the years, and I just can't see somebody. I mean, I made fun of him in my act, which is in my book. I talk about how I met him, and there was something in my act that he repeated that I thought offended him, but he was putting me on. Later found out.
We've got all kinds of mail asking us, why don't we have the boy who really got this rock and roll thing off the ground to come back on our show? So here he is going to sing a little song about, well, I'll let him tell you about it. Elvis. Hold it, boys, hold it, boys, hold it, boys, hold it, boys. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for that warm reception you gave to me, a singer from America. I'd also like to say that for all you newcomers come up here, you don't have to grow long hair to make it in rock and roll singing. You have to have the right manager. I have the right manager. He groomed me, showed me what to do, and I'm really in debt to him. I wrote a song for him. It's a little ballad. I hope you like it. His name is Colonel Tom, and I call my song Colonel Tom. When I saw you down in Tennessee, I knew you'd be the manager for me, Colonel Tom. Did you? Colonel Tom. Did you? You peg my guitar case, but then you turn around and peg my face, Colonel Tom. Did you? Well, Colonel Tom, yeah, it's you. Come here, take a bow.
And I'm glad it's out there. I'm glad people love it. And Annie has a girlfriend seen it 7 times.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
She'll be lip syncing with it pretty soon.
Okay, so that's amazing. This has been amazing for me, John. Like, you gave me all this time. Is there any, like, this is an opportunity before we take our screenshot photo and say goodbye. Like, is there any story you want to share or anything you want to get off your chest? This is sort of your moment, Mr. Byner. Anything you're thinking, like, just anything, like, did you meet the Queen?
I've met plenty of them, but I never met her. And I love them. Don't get me wrong. There's one named Skippy Lowe that's a favorite of ours. My wife and I, Skippy Lowe. Is John Byner, religious man? He's a great guy. And I loved him. He's gone now. What else can I tell you? I just tell you, hey, be happy, folks, and pay attention to what's going on. When you have to vote, find out things. Don't just vote because the guy has nice hair and terrific teeth. Whatever it is, look into it.
Good advice. And that I think it's. I'm trying to remember. What is your email signature? It's E.E. Cummings, right? What is the quote? Do you remember?
Oh, I just took that off.
Oh, you just took it off.
A day is wasted without laughter. Without laughter, a day is wasted.
See, you practice what you preach, because in this 1 hour we've been chatting, my face is hurting a little bit from all the laughter. Like I can feel those muscles have been worked in my face, and
that's nice. I'm glad to hear it.
Thank you for that. And John, good luck with everything. If you ever find yourself in the Great White North again, I hope you.
I'll certainly look you up.
Send me a note. But thanks again. This has been wonderful. And best of luck to you and Annie and your whole family.
Thanks so much. And back to you, same thing.
And that brings us to the end of our 1113th show. You can follow me on Twitter. I'm at Toronto Mike. Our friends at Great Lakes Brewery are at Great Lakes Beer. Palma Pasta is at Palma Pasta. Sticker U is at Sticker U. Electronic Products Recycling Association are at EPRA_Canada. Ridley Funeral Home are at Ridley FH, and Canna Cabana are at Canna Cabana _. See you all next week.
Massage is the best that I can.